I gotta tell you, this episode made me so incredibly emotional. But honestly, that's a mark of a good series. When it tugs at your heartstrings, makes you feel things, and makes you feel very, very tense. This was a phenomenal episode. Please join me as I review Rwby, Volume 8, Episode 11, titled Risk. And man, we run the gauntlet when it comes to risks in this series. Like, we just start naming off the various risks that our heroes have taken. Like, at this point, every move the heroes and villains take in this series is a genuine risk at every turn in and of itself. Let's just jump into it already. As I was completely wrong in the episode before last, where Ozpin had let off that massive blast, destroying Salem, well, scattering her until she can pull herself together. I thought that blast had wiped out all the Grimm in Atlas, and I was woefully mistaken. Not that easy, unfortunately, as the citizens of Atlas are still in the subway system hiding out. Which, I'm like, wouldn't some of the tunneling Grimm manage to get to them or something? Like, a concentrated mass of that much fear and anxiety, I think it would be a hotbed of grim activity at this point. But who knows what's keeping them away and at bay. But the citizens of Mantle, the citizens of Mantle, hearing that broadcast, because Ironwood's broadcast goes everywhere, and everyone hears it, and it's just like, what are just going through these people's minds, having heard all of that, that their lives are basically being played with by Ironwood, and Robin's crew, they're distraught. They're at a loss because it's like now they're a target. They were just trying to help these people and do their best, but now they're being targeted simply because they are alive? How sick and cruel is that? And oof, as Ironwood and Winter walk through the halls of the base, you see the way the military personnel looks at them, and Winter sees the way the military personnel looks at them. It's it's such a shift because I love that kind of stuff because you see that the people on the base aren't completely okay with this, but at the same time they're following orders. It's a cruel duality when it comes to being a military personnel. It's just like I was just following orders, but your orders cost the lives of people you were sworn to protect at one point. At what point is enough enough? And it really feels like enough is enough from what Marrow is going through as he tries to tell the Aesops, yo, are you guys really okay with all of this? And, most of them, especially Elm, feels like, oh, it's probably just a bluff. He's probably not really going to do it. And on cue, in comes Ironwood telling them to prepare drones to drop the payload on Mantle. And Winter, like her neck should have snapped by how quickly she gives Ironwood that look of like, sir, the fuck? Like, you must be joking. But no, he's perfectly serious. He wants to detonate that massive warhead on Mantle should Penny not comply. And Marrow has basically had it at this point. And honestly, good on him. But I tell you, do not mistake me when I tell you. My heart was pounding throughout all of this because I'm just like, oh God, Mary, you're gonna die. This man's gonna shoot you dead. He's already done as much on multiple occasions. He has cold bloodedly tried to kill, well, successfully killed one person, tried to kill Oscar, and for all we know, he thinks he succeeded. He's just like, nope, you're a problem, you're opposing me, boom, you're dead. And Marrow is just going off like, dude, I did not. Are you really okay with this? You can't be serious. And what pissed me off the most, something that I was hoping wouldn't happen, but it still did. All the other Aesops, despite, varying levels of reservation, go along with it. Harriet tells Marrow to shut up or she'll shut him up. Vine says that this is necessary, and Elm says, as you need to calm down. This is our job, but you can hear the reservation in her voice. Grade A voice acting all around here. But Marrow's not having any of it. He's literally like, I'm seriously just disappointed in all of you. I feel ashamed to be a part of any of this. And even goes on to say it's just like, this isn't a job. This is a leash. That's all this is. You're just yanking the chain and commanding us to do with that whatever without actually thinking about anything that we're actually doing. And Ironwood, I love the fact that not a lot of attention is brought to the fact that he was going to shoot him. He was straight up just going to shoot him. Just boom, dead, gone. Right there and then. But Winter tackles Marrow to the ground, handcuffs him, and says that she'll take the trainer to the cells because she knew what was going to happen. She knew that Marrow was going to die right then, right there, and she saved his life. But I'm just like, so it's just Marrow and Winter. That's it. The only ones in this whole entire group who have held on to their soul for the most part. Because at this point, the rest of the Aesops, fucking lost cause. I'm sorry, I can't vibe with them anymore because it's just like, no, that should have been, that was the line. That was literally the line. And going along with this, I know that Winter is seeing this as not okay with it. It's very telegraphed. But the rest of them, Elm, I can kind of believe it, but Harriet and her anger and Vine and his pragmatism, yeah, nah. This is a step too far for these characters. And, we move on from all that and we pick up with Rwby and the gang just trying to weigh everything that's going on, and they're at an utter loss. Rwby is at an utter loss. They have no plan. They don't know what to do. Everything that they've tried has failed one way or another. And while Yang tries her best to comfort Rwby, it's not taking. Like, it's just not. Rwby has lost all confidence in herself. Meanwhile, John is trying his best to heal Nora to some degree, maybe get the scars to go away, but yeah, no, it's looking like that damage is permanent. Yeah, she took a big risk, and that's the consequence she's gonna have to live with. And John Ren tries his best to just talk up Nora, say, look, this. He tries to just muster some words to encourage Nora on some degree, but Nora's not having it. Ren had been blowing her off for what was probably a few months now, both her and Jean, and he's been just really shitty to them. And Ren stops mincing words. He's just like, yes, I have. I've been a terrible friend and partner to you. And as soon as that word is dropped, John's just like, oh, okay, I see the direction that this conversation is going. I'ma leave you two alone. And we get a much long awaited heart to heart between Ren and Nora. I don't know how long I have been waiting for this reconciliation, but I am glad to have it. These two fighting is just too foreign a concept for me, and I'm glad to be past this hurdle. As Ren basically professes his love to Nora, and Nora tells him, look, you big goof, I've been in love with you since the day we met, when you found me after my mother had left me behind, which, geez, that's abandonment issues, am I right? But really, it just goes to show that these two were always meant to be together, and of course they've had their rough patch, but Ren, has been feeling down on himself, feeling like he needed to prove himself, to be better because he didn't want to hold everyone back. But Nora was feeling the same way, that she needed to be better in some way because she always saw her and Ren as being a team, always together. But she ended up not really thinking about what it would mean should she not be with Ren. Who is Nora without Ren? And she wants to try to figure that out so that she won't be a burden. But, you know, they kind of accept those terms to a shaky degree. Ren's just like, okay, if that's what you feel you need, but, there's still that support there. If nothing else, there's that genuine support between the two. And I'm glad we've at least gotten to this point with them. Meanwhile, Crow and Robin, they hear the broadcast from Ironwood, and Robin's like, oh, he's actually planning to do it. And Crow, he's full on ready to do Ironwood in. They head to an elevator, try to get to Ironwood, and Crow, he's got a mad on for killing Ironwood, and it takes Robin to just be like, look, you are hurting. I get that. But the reason why you were able to walk away from that situation with Tyrion and Clover and everything that was going on isn't because you were lucky. It was because you have a good head on your shoulders. You know what's right. You fought for what was right. And that's why you've made it this far. Don't lose that part of yourself now. Don't doubt that part of yourself now. You are stronger than this. And I hope that got around to Crow because, yeah, he's been hurting. He really had something good going on with Clover, and he has been just bitter for losing all of that because of the stupid decisions that Ironwood has made. But once they go to board the elevator, they see something. We're not given any information on what this is, and it's a massive cliffhanger, and I really want to find out what it is, but until next time on Rwby. But we have the heart to heart between Rwby and Yang. Again, another situation where we have a heart to heart between two characters. Crow talking about his risk, Nora talking about her risk, Marrow taking a risk and just telling everyone how he feels and he's not putting up with this shit anymore. Uh, and Rwby just not really listening to Yang too much. She is and she isn't, as Yang tries to pep her up to some degree, talking about how they defeated the Hound. But once Rwby brings up that the Hound was someone with silver eyes, and she kind of lays it out on the table of what that probably means. The reason why Salem has been so hell-bent on capturing Rwby alive of all things is because she must have captured um, their mom, Summer. I kept feeling like that wasn't her name, but Summer Rose. And she realized what she could do with those with silver eyes. And that's why she wants to capture Rwby. That their mom might be alive, but she might be in a living hell of a death-like state. And if she's living, it ain't a life you want to have. And, she's down on herself, feeling that at every turn the plan has failed, the Amity situation, it was a stupid risk, they shouldn't have done it. But Yang tells her, no, we love your optimism. We follow that optimism because we need hope. It's not good to have blind optimism, but hope is priceless. And we need so much of that right now. We follow you and we believe in you because we cling to that hope. It's what keeps us going. And, despite everything and everything that has happened, if what has befallen your mom has actually happened, she went down like a hero. She went down taking risks. It's what has to happen to get results. Yes, they never work. They sometimes don't work out in the end, but if you never take a risk, you never know how far you might be able to go and what you might be able to do. But this is interrupted as Penny, the virus that Arthur had put in her to go to the vault, open it up, and then self destruct afterwards. It starts to take a hold. And, she's almost completely taken over at this point. But the crew does their best in order to help her just stop. They do everything in their power to hold her down, with even Emerald getting in on this. But the maiden powers that Penny has, it's not making it easy. But John does his, incredible job. Like, seriously, his semblance, grade A stuff, as he powers up uh, Weiss's glyphs so that they can make sure that Penny is grounded. But then Penny brings up the fact that the only way to stop her at this point would pretty much be to kill her. And then she'll just transfer the maiden powers over to Rwby. And Rwby is just distraught at this. Of course she is. Of course she would be. But then Nora brings up, look, you can fight this. This virus, it's a part of you. You don't have to go down this road. You're stronger than this. If you were just a simple robot following orders, you wouldn't be able to fight back as much as you have been. And then Rwby realizes, right, she's not completely a robot. Yeah, she has the inner workings of a robot, but she has a soul. She has an aura. So Rwby asked John to come over and boost Penny's aura. And that does the trick, at least for the most part, because ultimately there's a soul, there's a mind, there's a consciousness, there is a will within Penny that is helping her be more than just another robot. It is helping her be a person, and that's what she is deep down. Much to the delight of Rwby and all their friends, that maybe they managed to get the virus out of her, but no, it's still there, still vying for control. Yes, she can keep it at bay, but it's still within her. But for the time being, they've managed to give Penny a fighting chance, with Emerald even going so far as to say, look, you were wrong before. You, failure. That's something that happens in wars and fights and battles. You can't be afraid of that. You have to take risks to move forward. Ultimately, that's all you have to do. And also noting that she'd be pretty pissed if the people who time and time again managed to thwart their plans had actually given up the moment she turned sides, which Oscar is all too happy to hear that from Emerald, with him even requesting that maybe Ozpin should get a moment to speak as well, with Ozpin recounting a tale about a young girl who went to a magical land but only ended up causing trouble because she had never learned from any of her mistakes in the real world. And he apologizes for keeping all these secrets from them, for not telling them, not trusting them, not taking that risk. But at this point, with everything that they've been through, they weren't ready to accept what Ozpin had to say before. But now, you go between when they found out about what Ozpin was keeping secret and this point, yeah, they've been through a world of change and hurt and development, and they can understand Ozpin's point of view just a little bit better than they could before, if nothing else. With them deciding to trust Ozpin once more. If nothing else, they'll trust Ozpin just a little bit more. And that's a risk they feel that is willing to take. They're willing to take. The risk of trust. And well, Penny still has that virus to contend with. And John can't boost her aura all the time, and Ironwood still has that deadline, and at some point, Penny's might just need to open that vault. And Rwby realizes, huh, yeah, that's just a risk maybe we should take. If nothing else, just see where it leads. You know, why not? They've made it through this far. What's one more risk? So Rwby contacts Ironwood, saying that Penny agrees to the terms, and they'll be there. Meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom, uh, Arthur is hot wiring one of the guard mechs, and they've met up with Neapolitan. Hmm. Has she brought the lamp? What are her terms? What is Neapolitan after? Find out more on the next episode of Rwby. A fun and fantastic episode. I'm interested to see who Crow and Robin have met up with. It's probably Winter and Marrow. She's turned sides and they're heading off to do the heroic thing, if nothing else. Finding out that Nora's scars are going to be permanent, ultimately, I feel like that's the good way to go. That consequences, she took a risk, did what she had to do, and there were consequences behind it. And them slowly turning around to Emerald, yes, again, done bad things, but at the same time, Emerald's a thief. She's only ever stolen shit. There's a difference between stealing some pocket change and genocide. So, and yes, she had a hand in a lot of unsavory things, but the series has gone out of its way to making it so that Emerald was never the direct person to take someone's life. That one White Fang defector, Mercury took them out. The whole situation with Yang, just that's kind of effed up, but tricking a few people here and there, it's dubious at best. But she messes with people. She's a jerk and an asshole, and again, probably belongs in jail. But dead, not so much. She deserves to do a lot of community service, if nothing else, and be arrested for her hand in the fall of Beacon. That's still my stance on things. But again, I'm glad she's turned around for the most part. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about Emerald, Ozpin, Rwby, Crow, Nora, and Ren, and all the risks that they've taken? How do you feel any of them have been unnecessary? What did you think about the situation with Marrow finally turning coat for the most part? It was a long time coming, at least I feel that way. But tell me your thoughts and feelings in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, comment, bell, all those good things, and I will see you, ladies, gents, and everything in between and around in the next video. Bye-bye.